I'm Lee Hendricks. I was born and raised in Allentown, Pennsylvania, and I was a heavy metal drummer for 15 years. I played in the Lehigh Valley hard rock metal scene with the bands High Risk and Tongue and Groove from early 90s to the late 1990s. The Lehigh Valley had a great music scene back in the 80s up to like the mid-90s. Ton of bands around here. There were so many places to play. We played all up and down eastern PA from Wilkes-Barre and the Pocono area all the way down to Philly and everywhere in between, all up and down the eastern part of the state. Plus you had all the bands from New York City, New Jersey, Philadelphia coming through here. It was just an amazing scene. This used to be the Freight Yard nightclub. They had dancing here, but they also had bands here. And I played here in 1993 with the band High Risk. And we only did one show here, but it was one of our best shows. We have it on video. It was actually an AIDS benefit. It was called Rock Against AIDS, first annual Rock Against AIDS. It was punk bands and heavy metal bands together, and I'm serious, that was the show. They just started doing a mosh pit and everything, and it was a lot of fun. In October of 1997, I moved to Phoenix, Arizona, where I live today. The big reason is, 80s metal was dead by the late 1990s. Earlier in that decade, you had Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, all these bands coming out of Seattle. Mid-90s, you had the bands in Arizona like Jim Blossom's Dead Hot Workshop. And then by the late 90s, it's kind of like, well, what's the point?
Music industry just did a complete about-face, in my opinion. It wasn't a gradual change, he just stopped, turned, and walked away, and that was it.
I remember 1994. Every band still had that whole look. The very next year, it was like overnight grunge.
A new genre should develop, but to completely turn your back on what you have going.
When you're doing a show and you look down there and all you see is your friends and family and girlfriends.
A year ago,
right.
It wasn't like this.
Yeah, exactly.
One of my main regrets is that I didn't stay with High Risk. I should have stuck around for a while because I think the music we were playing is what the music in the 1990s became. You didn't have your operatic vocalists, like Jeff Tate or Bruce Dickinson anymore that could just sing really high, It was getting into more like James Hetfield, Phil Anselmo type, growling vocals, but with a little melodic guitar.
Baby got caught up in a bind. Found a job working 6 to 9. You know what I'm saying?
And that's what we were doing. And we didn't know the music was going that way. We were just kind of doing our music the way we liked it. And I think that's where music headed. And if I would have stuck around maybe for another year, who knows what could have happened.
I think long hair then.
It was a popular thing.
More, people, the guys had long hair then.
Yeah, that was the style of the day. They had to make their own decisions on that.
Yeah. We didn't really care.
Stuff like that never bothered us. Let them do their own thing.
Good to know. I didn't know that. Sorry.
If he wanted long hair, it's up to him. I wouldn't want it though.
Nowadays, a lot of people that really weren't part of that scene or don't remember it too well, a lot of people just lump all the bands as hair bands. And that's not true. There were many different types of bands. You had your glam bands that they had the long hair and they always teased their hair up and they wore makeup, they look all pretty. And their sound was kind of rough and maybe a little punkish even. And very raw sounding bands, like Poison or Faster Pussycat. You had your speed metal and thrash, very heavy, guitar-oriented music. They had long hair too, but they mostly went out in jeans and t-shirts and they didn't worry about the image, they just worried about the songs. And I think Dave Mustaine said when he started Megadeth, he just wanted a band that would dominate the world with guitars.
If that's the best category they can come up with for that type of music, good for them. But to me, it was just another step in music evolution, I'd say, is to go from, say, what was produced prior in the 70s or the 60s. It was the same essence.
I never really categorized myself as just certain type of music. Just music is music and just play it. It just happened to be, hard rock metal. Even, anything we wrote, anything that we do, We never sat down and say, hey, let's do a speed metal song, let's do a funked out, you know. We just, you know, whatever come out.
The dream was just to play the music that we all love playing. Hard rock and metal, we love playing it. And not only do we love the music, we love playing our instruments. And to make a living doing it, to be with your friends, you know, your bandmates, in a bus going across the world, having fun, but playing the music, because we all love the music.
I wanna be on TV shows and wear designer clothes. I want a girlfriend who does not drink beer. I wanna drive a fast car, sleep with certain movie stars. I wanna sing the songs that all those little people wanna hear. I just wanna be a rock star.
What's it like to be famous? It's addictive high. It's a very addictive high. When everybody treating you like God, essentially. You know, whatever you want, you can get. When you're a kid, you know, that was great. And then as you get older, you know, as I was playing the music, and you realize that have nothing to do with the music.
This guy just was walking up the parking lot. I guess he wanted to talk to my dad, and he looked at me and he goes, "Tongue and Groove." I just smiled. I said, "Yeah." He didn't know my name, but he knew what band I was in. To make it a living, to make music and sell it.
Yeah, we were always
to be the #1 band would have been awesome, but it wasn't the main thing. It was just to be able to make music, just to keep writing and playing and doing the whole thing.
When you don't make it as a band or personally, it does. You're just like, you know, was there something I could have done? Could we have written more songs? Or you're always wondering what did we miss? What could have we have done?
It was probably just to have fun and party. That's why I got into the band scene.
Like most guys, first it was It was the chicks, right? Sex, drugs, and rock and roll, right?
First played out in a band. It was like the late '88, I think. It was really exciting. I was nerve-wracking at first. But I was really excited to be up there on stage under the lights and just seeing people out there dancing. It was a really cool, unique experience.
When you first start out, all you want to do is to be able to jam. That's all you want to do. You get into the thing, you want to play the cover songs, and like, you know, always the next step. Where do you want to go with this? You know, because you got into this thing, and the next thing you know, you're like a minor celebrity, right? You know, you're in school, you're walking around, you got all these people, you got your entourage, you got your, you know, you got all these people, like, you know, all they want to be your friends, you know, so wherever you go, you know, and all of a sudden, all the jocks want to be friends with you. Even the cowboys want to be friends with you, you know, because you know, they'll go to your parties. Yeah. It's a rock party, but yeah, you know, there's beer, there's girls. Hey, so what do you want to do? You want to extend that, right? You want to make that to the next level. So by the time I was 16, yeah, that's all I wanted to do, and you know, getting the guys and anybody who's not gonna cut it, you're out of here.
Because people, I mean, you don't say, I mean, how many people just say, oh, they're not supposed to say back up there. You know, but I mean, if you hit a fucking wrong note, it's just like a fucking store.
It was very cutthroat in a way.
I always thought of Tongue and Groove as one of the bands that we just kept trying like hard just to claw that
That's
down.
how it always felt. It always felt like we were always clawing forward.
Part with the Lehigh Valley music scene, which was great. If you weren't part of the club, it was really hard to get into that group.
Yep. There was a circle above us, I'd say, that we just couldn't break into. We couldn't.
They wouldn't let you.
A lot of those other bands used to.
They would throw stuff at you, or
really kiss their ass.
Yeah.
You know, they get up there.
They cut your set short because they wanted their buddy's band to play.
Yeah.
And, oh man, some of it was really bad. Some of those guys were really. They thought they were the next Steve Vai or something.
Take away their
Most
rank.
of those guys are from Allentown.
A lot of those
Nothing
nasty.
Allentown, but
it's like anything else, I
kind of
suppose.
true.
There's always somebody who's got a.
Because we play up here, and there was like your own music scene up here in the Northeast. And up here we played. There was a full crowd almost every night. And then you go down there to the city, and you had to break through that. It was like a wall.
What is Allentown famous for?
The headquarter of Mack Trucks, the Billy Joel song. What else?
Drummer Jimmy DeGrasso, drummer for Megadeth and Y&T and Suicidal Tendencies. He was in Bethlehem, and that's like the Allentown area. He moved out to Hollywood and became he played for Alice Cooper for a little bit. Greg Howe from Easton, Pennsylvania, which is east of Allentown by the Delaware River. He had a band called Howe 2 with his brother Albert Howe, and they met two guys in LA and formed that band. He toured with Michael Jackson as his guitarist. Richie Kotzen from Poison and from Mr. Big. He's from Reading, Pennsylvania, which is like southwest of Allentown. Oh, Poison! Poison, they're from the Harrisburg area, which is the capital of Pennsylvania. It's like central Pennsylvania. Guys from Poison, a lot of people think they're a Hollywood band, but they're Pennsylvania boys.
What I would have done differently, I think, back then is knowing how easy it is to move. I would have probably moved to LA, Los Angeles, back when I was 19. So I was working in high school and working right out of high school. I just would have saved my money, and I think I would have tried. Los Angeles is important because, you know, back in the 80s, and it was like the capital of heavy metal. It was the Mecca. A lot of record companies are based out of there, like Capitol Records, and I think Elektra was out there at that time. And a lot of bands were getting signed out there, I think, because it was just easy to sign bands. The offices were already there, and a lot of great bands came out of that area. There was a lot of legendary clubs out there that are still there, like the Roxy and Whiskey A Go Go. Troubadour is out there too, and you know, the Rainbow Bar and Grill. Back then, you could definitely tell there were fans all over the world. I mean, they had the Moscow Music Peace Festival in '89. That was one of the first metal concerts in that country. It was still the USSR. There's metal everywhere, so you had your fans everywhere.
We're from Norway, and we're here because of all the metal bands from LA in the old times when we grew up. You know, Motley Crue, Van Halen, and all that stuff. And they used to hang out at the Rainbow here. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, even way back from the 1960s, like the Doors.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jim Morrison, they used to hang
out
here too.
Led Zeppelin and all the bands.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's what you call it, legendary place for.
Legendary icon.
And we read about it in Norway.
What making it would mean is you're getting signed, writing and traveling and actually getting paid to do it, and having that security of a record company over you with, you know.
There's two worlds existing. There's the independent musician world, and then there's the major music world. And major music world have people who they pay to do a lot of the legwork, whereas in the independent world, you're on your own. You know, there's a difference between $1 million investment and $1,000 investment. It only goes to the edge of the county, and that's about it. So, you know what I mean? Your hands are kind of tied. People say, oh, the harder you work, the more you get. Not necessarily. The harder you work, the more tired you get. It's just...
I'm more of a practical kind of person. When I first get in, and you know, I realized I wanted to do this, I realized there is no middle ground for musicians. Whether you make it and you be the big time, you know, have a contract and living that life, okay? Or, you know, you're gonna be like the rest of everybody else pretty much. You know, you're struggling, right? You're doing gigs here and there, and you know, most times not gonna pay for your bills, you gotta have another job. There isn't a true middle class musician, whether you're the rich or you're the poor. The other thing I realized that it wasn't just about making it big and getting it up there, because it's about getting it up there and staying up there. I mean, you get it big, but you become a one-hit wonder. To me, that's the pressure.
Those days of playing are special to me because it was a great time. It was a fun time. Met a lot of people, had a lot of friends. Your bandmates are friends first, then your musicians, like I said. And learned a lot of things even about life, because you get to meet so many different types of people as a band and that want to be around you or kind of want to rip you off or that don't want to rip you off. And I think you probably grow as a person a little bit. It definitely helped me grow because I was so shy as a kid. And getting in a band and starting to play out in front of people kind of got me out of my shell. The way it feels playing in front of an audience, you get this buzz off the crowd. They react to your songs. Just knowing that they're digging what you're playing a song that you wrote or helped to write. Probably what an athlete feels when they score a goal or a touchdown. You just get this high. The relationship from the band to the audience is hopefully the energy that you want to make, that you have to give to them first. Then if they like what you did, they bring it back to you, and it's just round and round.
Let's pull the fucking roof off this place, all right? One more time. Let's get those hands together. Let's go. Here we go. Ready? Let's see the sun shining.
It gives you goosebumps when people do that stuff. Where you hear the whole crowd yelling.
Yeah.
Or you hear them singing along with you.
Yeah.
That's a rush to me.
Oh, yeah.
Assume the position. I know that one. Assume the position. Assume the position. Did you write a song? This song is by Tony Groove. This is called Kiss My Fucking Ass. Kiss My Fucking Ass.
We are going to Palmerton, Pennsylvania. Oh, look, scenery. Do I miss the snow? Yes, hardly ever.
Here's a shot for you.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
That's Todd. We were just doing all kinds of stuff.
That looks like it's inside of a CD booklet, you know. Slammers. That Slammers is great.
It's a nice place. Was like all the places we used to play are gone now.
Yeah, isn't Kurt's Corner still? I heard.
Yeah, but they don't really have bands anymore.
It's just where they have them. I think they have DJs just drinking.
Mary Ann's?
Oh, Mary Ann's.
Mary Ann's.
Wow.
Let's introduce Tony Groove.
Many years ago when I was like 20, 21 years old, used to work at the zinc company across the street, walk in the back door over here, get breakfast, beer, and go home. Every morning, 7 o'clock, without doubt.
It's definitely Pennsylvania. It's breakfast and a beer.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what we do. And it's Sunday, we still have breakfast and a beer.
This used to be the former site of Mary Ann's, and we played here many, many times with Tongue and Groove. And sort of in that end of the room, that was the stage area where we'd play, and sort of where the pool table is. That was the dance area. People always they were having a good time and dancing to our music. And then when you kind of over in this end of the room, this is kind of where the crowd was. Everyone drinking, having a good time, and getting into the music. And so this is Mary Ann's, and this is what played here a lot of times with Tongue and Groove, and it was a really, really cool place.
Some of the bands that we were in.
Oh.
Well,
how many names did we have? Paradise Alley, Carpe Diem,
which was called Crappy Denim.
Crappy Denim.
By an Italian guy.
That was
who was Franco?
Franco. From Mason Jar.
Mason Jar, yeah. We did a show at the Mason Jar, right?
Mr. $2.
Yeah, Mr. Franco.
I'm gonna pay you big time.
So we come up, they're like, okay, up next, it's what the hell is this? Crappy Denim.
What was the last one that we were?
Resin.
Yeah, Resin.
Wasn't there something else?
Did you have a band called Jester?
Yeah, that was one of my first band that got somewhere. You know, we did tons of shows. We had several riots.
Oh.
Claim to fame.
The riot we had at Rich's
Farmhouse.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
We were in the papers. We had
helicopters come out. We had riot police came out.
Ambulance to help the people that were beat over the head by bats. And it wasn't even our group that was doing it. We had outside people standing around us like in a big group. And they all come out of the shades and just started going whack, whack, whack.
It was corn. It was growing corn.
Everywhere.
Yeah. So, you know, we're in the middle of this field doing the shows, right? And these guys coming out with of the corn and whacking people, right? It was like Children of the Corn, man. And next thing I hear was some gunshot, right? One of the guys that lived in the house.
The bass player.
The bass player.
He went out running with a .22, and he tripped over something and shot the gun. Later found out there was a girl sleeping in that car and it went through the glass. If she would have been sitting up, she'd have got it right in the head. Those were the days.
At the end, yeah, but see, because fuck it. I was gonna say out here and I go over there and do it.
I started going to church, and it was like perfect timing where we all just said, yeah, you know, it's about time just to
call it
it. And I mean, it's kind of a letdown because that goal of making it big, but then you hear all these stories of people getting ripped off, people dying of drug overdoses, and
back when you're jamming what 4 or 5 nights a week, right? So and you spend so much time getting wasted along the way.
And you pick up your guitar player after you've already picked your wife up from the hospital with the new brand new baby, because you have to have practice that night. She won't let me forget that. But I'm just thankful that I still have my wife after all the drugs and the just late nights and all the. Because I was thinking about that when we talked about the bars. I've always asked her to be there, but you think about it. I mean, that place it's so smelly and that's where we wanted to be for so long. And then when we get there, it's like, you know, you're walking on puke and beer and cigarettes and you know, hey, we're in the bar playing, and then after you get a clue, you're like, wow, I really don't want to be there anymore. It stinks. You know, that's not what, like he said, that's not what the music was all about. It was more of a, you know, it makes you alive inside.
That's what music is about. When you jam, it's that moment that just, you know, everything just click, and you feel like everything in the world is just fall right into place, right?
Yeah.
All that stuff and the, you know, I'm thinking back now. I mean, you know, when you're in the middle of it, you know, when you're 16, okay, and you're doing it, you know, your mindset is totally different. And then when you're in your 20s, it's different. And when you're in your 30s, it's totally different. You know, so, you know, in retrospect now, looking back, you know, I wouldn't have changed anything. You know, if I had to do it all over again, I do it, okay? But I just, one thing I do regret is I just wish I appreciate the music as much back then as I am right now.
Yep.
I'd play all again. Maybe I do different decisions here and there, change them, but I'd play. Yeah.
I'm still trying to quit playing. I can't.
I know you've been trying to quit for years.
I'll miss it too much. I can't quit.
You can't go too long without it. It's just the sound might change, but the reason why doesn't change. What you're inspired by.
You love playing.
You love to play.
Just every now and then we get an itch and we have to do something, you know. Yeah. But it's nothing that's where we have to make it big again.
You still need to like what you're doing.
I'd like to just keep writing songs and recording and putting them on the internet, whatever.
I believe right now there is a resurgence of metal. I'm talking to some young kids, you know, that I meet, and they're like, oh yeah, Motley Crue, Metallica, you know, Tesla, yeah, they're all really good. Must have been really cool to live back then. I was like, yeah, it was great. There are even some new bands coming out right now. There's a band coming out of New Zealand called Airborne, they look like an 80s band. You know, they sound like an 80s band, and they're new. Another cool thing about the Resurgence is there are a lot of tribute bands coming out right now, like a band from Arizona called Hair Force. They're a lot of fun. You know, a lot of them are very, very good. There are a lot of really good musicians out there that are doing this now.
Look back and go, wow, you know, see some of the old videos and some of the pictures. Just knowing that I did it. You know, I tried, we really tried. We just didn't end up a garage band, or we just didn't sit around a table and talk about it. We actually kind of took it to the other level.
What I do now is I work for a company called Precise Corporate Staging out of Tempe, Arizona. I'm a video shop technician. If I couldn't make it in a band, this is what I would want to do, play with video gear. My life now is it's really great. I have a beautiful fiance now, and I really like my job. My fiance introduced me to a friend of hers, and we started jamming. Then he brought a friend of his over, a bass player, and we started all jamming together, and it just seemed like we had something. So, you know, it's good now. After the dream ends, you know, and after all that's over, you know, you get over it. It takes a few years, but then you get over it. You just focus, and you get on with life, and you just continue on.
I don't know where to go with that.
Go with it, man. Just go with
All
it.
right.